Brava! Marina. No! Bravo! Brava! Brava! Bravo! Brava! Bravo! 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 Brava! Brava! Bravo! Hey!
Mozart, which many consider the most perfect opera ever composed. We have a very brief talk back. I promise you it's brief so you can meet these wonderful performers and get to hear some of their insights and get to know them a little bit as people. So, I'm very thrilled to welcome our international cast. Our Susanna, Olga Kulchynska, our Count, Joshua Hopkins, our Maestro, Joana Mallwitz. We have our Countess, Federica Lombardi, our Cherubino, and our Figaro, Ensemble.
Bravo!
So, very quickly, LeNozze is such an ensemble piece. What's the key to creating all that great comic timing and chemistry you have on stage with this big ensemble cast? I'm going to great meeting also with a nice time with the orchestra, so it's like a conversation that never ends. Wonderful. Maestro, you made your debut about 2 weeks ago with this opera. What has it been like for you to conduct the Met Orchestra and chorus of this cast for the first time on the stage?
It has been, I can't say it any way else, just to say it was wonderful. It was a huge joy and also honor. And I mean, what Federica just said, all this energy and humor on stage, it's, Mozart gives us all the details and all the impulses and all this humor on the shortest of space. So much is happening. And this wonderful orchestra, they can do it all with emotion, with listening to what the singers do, and with full energy at the same time, which is really cool.
It's so glorious, this music. I have to share a little secret. Backstage, as we were waiting in the wings, everybody, the stage managers, the techs, and people who weren't even singing, as they were waiting, were all singing along, because the music is just so infectious. I have a quick question about comedy for you singers. What's the most important thing to create that comedy? Is it facial expressions? Is it the body language? Is it the way you run? Or the timing of things?
I think it's all of those things, but for me, the essence of comedy is to base it in reality and truth. Because if we are playing it like we find it funny, it's not funny to the audience. So we have to base everything we do like it's happening in the present moment, in reality. And the piece is written so geniusly that the comedy is already written into it, so we don't have to force that at all.
Interesting. Olga, yeah, it's like you want to say something.
You know text very, very well as an artist. So you just believe in this text and just, you're inside of the story already, so you don't really need to overreact or something. You just do it, of course, a bit more than in real life, but all this reaction comes naturally.
Speaking of text, Federica, you are the native Italian speaker on this stage. Does speaking Italian as your native language make the baritone text easier? Yes, I think so. But I mean, they are all speaking beautiful Italian, I have to say. Every word is perfect. But for example, talking about the reaction that we have to have for being so credible in the situation, and I think it's very important, as Olga said, to know very well the text, but also to forget the text, and then to be surprised every time, because sometimes it's easy to get used to it, and then maybe the feeling could be a little bit too relaxed, but it's important to keep this energy that it's something that we don't know exactly. So to me it's like that. Thank you very much. And also, of course, the music, the Mozart's music goes together with the libretto, so it's something very special. That's wonderful.
I would also just say that so much of what we feel on stage is a reflection of what we get from you, the audience. And it's always so wonderful, especially in comedy, to be able to hear that laughter, to be able to hear the reactions. And there's so many discoveries that all of us make during the course of this opera. And so on stage, your energy feeds our energy.
And that's the same in the print, actually. The energy from the stage, from the singers, but also in my back, everything coming from you. It's like we get infected from both sides.
Michael, you had a radio interview recently, and I have to share a little story. My first season at the Met was 2021, and we did Massenet's Cinderella in English. Wonderful production for the holidays. We're sitting there in the radio booth, and all of a sudden we hear this voice of the king. We're like, who is that? And it was you. And we spoke about how you sang some smaller roles, and then suddenly you were catapulted to this very important title role. I wonder if you could share the wonderful story of how that happened.
Sure. So we finished the Massenet, I believe, January 3rd, flying to Michigan, to Grand Rapids, Michigan with my family to visit my wife's family the next day. An hour after I went, I received a text message from my manager asking if I was still in New York because the Met wanted to add me to the Figaro cover cast. So of course my reaction was no, but I can turn right around right now. So I was just waiting confirmation. A snowstorm blew through Michigan and thankfully cleared out the morning that I flew back to New York, which was the morning of the final dress rehearsal. I land at the airport, go straight to a costume fitting, go grab a score from the library just to see what the musical cuts are for this production. Then I come to the auditorium, which was closed for this final dress, and everyone on stage wearing masks. After the final dress is completed, I have a coaching and then my first staging. So I learned all of the staging, a version of the staging for this entire production in 2.5 days. And thankfully I never had to go on, but I think that work that I showed during that time and just being prepared and being ready for the moment was a sample of approval. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to actually perform it.
Thank you for sharing that. So you had debut last season in Lombardi, in a smaller role as well, and now you're singing one of the great comic roles for mezzo-soprano. Your Cherubino has so much life and humor. How does Mozart show that he's genuinely lovable too?
Well, that's a really hard question. I think the truth is in the sincerity of the music, for sure. I mean, his music is just so pure and written in a very vulnerable part of the voice for women. We call it the passaggio, which is a kind of a transition part of the voice that can be a little precarious to sing in. And I think that vulnerability through music is what helps the audience connect with him as a real fragile young boy. To hear that purity in the music, I think, helps communicate some of that in a very effective way. Personally,
People really do love him, it seems like, especially the countess and Susanna. We do. Speaking of which, Olga, Mozart gives Susanna the most amount of music in this opera. You get to sing in the most numbers of ensembles of any other character. What do you love about singing her?
Oh, this role is a marathon from the beginning to the end. I like her. I like this role because she's super fast and super smart and super fast about decisions, and it's also it gives me this kind of lightness on stage that I always have to be like I cannot sit and just relax on some moment. I always have to be ready to do something else. And I don't know, I just love it. It just gives me so much energy back. Like it takes a lot of energy to do all this stuff, but also it gives me energy back.
We can feel your joy, for sure.
Yeah.
Federica, Mozart gives you the most achingly vulnerable arias, your Gorgio more and your Dori Sono. But is there something strong about the countess? Did you see her?
Of course, yes. I think she's very vulnerable, but I think her strength comes from her vulnerability. Because to be strong, you have really to know what is to you painful and what is the dark side. You really have to know the dark side of your life to see that there is also a bright side. So you want them to fight for it. And so I think this strength is because she wants to be happy again. So praying for love and asking love itself to give her some hope and some beautiful moments again. To me, it's a real sign of strength and powerful character.
She really is not afraid to be open to her feelings.
Exactly.
Which is something we think we can all learn from. Susanna is the employee of the countess. Are they true friends, do you think?
Yes,
They are.
They are, and we love to play like this. Like there is this
Yeah, but special connection between Susanna and Contessa, especially if you know the history, like the prehistory of Contessa's life. Yeah, we know that she was kind of Susanna. She was not servant, but
Yes.
she was.
She was not the countess
Yeah.
before, so and for in this society, she is now the countess, but she's also very alone, and I think she needs to have someone by her side, and she finds Susanna, and they have this chemistry together and this connection, and they immediately understand each other, even with the look. So it's something amazing.
It's very beautiful, especially that other duet. So gorgeous. Josh, your count has betrayed his wife. He is about to betray Figaro, who was his friend and ally. How do you give him humanity? Does he deserve that name?
Of course he does. Well, the Count's humanness really comes from the pressure that I think he feels being the lord of the manor. Well, actually, one of the costume pieces that I have is this pinky ring, and I always kind of think that this is my father's ring that I'm wearing, and so I'm reminded each and every day of the pressure and this chip on my shoulder that I have about living up to my father's expectations and feeling the vulnerability of the fact that I don't believe that I do live up to his expectations. And so even in Act 1, where all the servants are nodding their head to me, there's a certain feeling of I don't belong here, I'm not really a born leader, but I'm putting on airs and really trying to show that I'm in control. And one of the amazing things about this opera is that it really displays the intelligence of each and every character. And so the way that I see it is that Susanna's on top. Figaro is such a wonderful equal to Susanna as well in terms of the way that they're able to manipulate and think ahead of things. And the countess is next in line, and then I would come after that. And it's not to say that the count is stupid or a fool. It's just that these other people around him are more intelligent and faster than him, and so that's how they're able to trick him all the time. And they play on his jealousies, his anger, his rage. And so finding the humanity in that, really, to play the count not vengeful and rageful all of the time, but to try and find the humor in that, and also pay homage to the love that he does feel towards his wife, the countess, because that is still there. It still burns in him. It's just that he's bored after all these years of, well, not very many years, but it's just the lifestyle that he has been used to.
Has he changed by the end, do you think, for good?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. In Act 2, he says, "I love you, I swear it," and he has a moment where he's on his knees with the countess. I don't believe that's a fully genuine ask for forgiveness at that moment. It's just trying to appease her. But at the very end, and it's reflected in Mozart's glorious music, the way that he said, "Contessa perdono," that is a legitimate statement where he has gone through all of this, and he's come to realize the error of his ways.
Finally. Quick question for each of you. I think we'll start with Michael. What is your very favorite moment in this magnificent opera? If you could name one.
If I could name one, I would say the Act 2 finale in its totality is 20 of the best minutes in all of classical music. It's not, I can do it every single day. And, that's probably my top pick for this piece.
Sumuel?
I think for me, it's the moment when the countess forgives the count. There's a saying that to err is human and to forgive is godly or something like that. And I think there's, out of all of the many lessons that can be learned from this opera, I think forgiveness is a very, very important one. something about that moment emotionally, and musically, for me, it feels like time stops, especially in the hands of these two, so that would definitely be it for me.
Wonderful, Federica? It's difficult, but I would say the virtual, because if the virtual there is everything that is gonna happen then. So yes, it brings tears to my eyes, ears too, eyes and ears when I hear that overture. Maestro?
I would have to say, Marie, you picked one of mine, so I'm going to pick one of yours. The transition of the last chord of Contessa's recitativo before the aria Dove Sono, because it shows in one moment the miracle that Mozart is able to write with his music. She sings Dove Sono e bei momenti, so she sings about something so beautiful, like a paradise, but very unstable because the moments are past, and it's written in C major. And the last chord in the recitativo before, it's E major. And after this E major, to turn to this simple C major phrase that is just perfect, but so, it's dangerous not to, I mean, I don't know how you're able to sing this because I'm so overwhelmed by this moment all the time. But yeah, that's fine. Josh?
I agree with Michael about Act 2 finale, but if I were to choose something from Act 2, because I think it's just such an incredible theater, piece of theater in and of itself. I would say the recitative right before the finale starts, when the count comes back with the axe and the toolbox. It's just such an amazing scene to play. And I get so much joy, if you can call it joy, out of playing that every time.
It's precious. Olga?
For me, I would separate the moment in acting, Susanna. My favorite moment is when I appear from this closet of Contessa, when who is next, and I appear there and they're surprised to see me. I love that moment. And musically, I think it's a Lost Choir, it's a piano part, because it has this magic connection with orchestra, and with all sing tutti, but super softly. I like it very much.
It's very heavenly. Well, I want to thank all of you for such a magnificent performance and for spending some time to speak with me and for our audience to get to know you as people. If you would like to hear these wonderful performers again, it will be our international radio broadcast on Saturday, April 26th at 1 p.m. It will also be